Hi there again. It is JoJo the Thrifty Teacher. I decided to, an advice from a friend, have a playlist where if you just want to know about the books, then I will show you just the books. If you want to know about the different hauls I got from Goodwill and other places that I shop, you can do that too. So, excuse me while I move my Tom Selleck plate out of the way. I might have to hold on to that for a while. So, the first book I want to share with you is called The Greedy Triangle. And this is, I got that from Goodwill for 99 cents, minus 20%. So, this would be great for early elementary. It's just so cute. I just love when you can find books that are about different topics like math and science and social studies, and they just make it fun. So this says, once there was a triangle that was, as most triangles are, always busy. The triangle spent its time holding up roofs, supporting bridges, making music in a symphony orchestra, catching the wind for sailboats, being slices of pie and halves of sandwiches, and much, much more. All the things that are triangles. And this would be great for you to be like, okay, we're going to learn about triangles. What are some things that are triangles? And they're going to maybe struggle with that. They're going to say pizza and stuff like that. But then when you read this, they'll be like, oh, yeah. The triangle's favorite thing, however, was to slip into place when people put their hands on their hips. That way I always hear the latest news, it said, which I can tell my friends. The triangle's friends liked hearing the news. Look at putting your hands on your hips and it creates a triangle. How cute is that? Ridiculous. Let's skip a few pages. The quadrilateral's favorite thing, however, was to be the pages of a book. I learned so many interesting stories that way, it said, which I can tell my friends. So it talks about how the triangle feels dissatisfied, then the quadrilateral feels dissatisfied. Life changed in a wonderful way. The pentagon was happy with all the new things it could do. On a baseball diamond, the pentagon could be a home plate. It could be a section on a soccer ball, or appear inside whenever someone drew a five-pointed star. The Pentagon's favorite thing, however, was to be the headquarters of the United States military near Washington, D.C. I hear all the top secrets that way, it said. It's too bad I can't tell them to my friends. The Pentagon's friends couldn't help feeling left out. Oh. Again, and then you could bring some history in here and talk about the Pentagon and what it's for. Oh, and there's shapeshifters. Ooh. The hexagon's favorite thing, however, was to be a cell in a beehive. I love watching the bees as they buzz in and out, it said. The hexagon spent so much time in a beehive, it was too busy to talk to its friends. The friends missed the hexagon and couldn't help feeling ignored. And then it just goes back to, like, everybody gets their shapes back. And then at the back, it talks about, for parents and teachers and other adults, about mathematics. It tells you how many sides shapes have, how to extend children's learning. It's just a great book. Yeah. And so many ideas come out of this. You can think of so many other things to do in reading and writing and social studies that have to do with that. So my other book that I love, Side by Side, Lotto y Lotto. So a lot of people know about Cesar Chavez and his fight for Hispanic rights, but people don't know Dolores Herrera that also worked with him. So they talk about working side by side. Love this book. What I love about it is it's in English and in Spanish. So if we have some Spanish speakers, they can read along with it. My students always enjoyed having me try to read the Spanish. And What I like about this book is it takes place in Arizona, is where I'm at, and some of the teachers still remember some of the things that this talked about when they went on strike at some of the grocery stores, and told people not to buy the oranges and stuff from there. So it's really neat. It says, many miles away in Arizona, there lived a little boy named Caesar who was a very good listener. Caesar listened to his mother cry when his family lost its home and they had to become migrant farm workers. When Dolores was a girl, she moved to California with her mother and brothers. She joined the Girl Scouts and worked to raise money for soldiers fighting in World War II. Caesar's family moved to California to follow the crops and work in the fields. Although he had to drop out of school to work, Caesar always had a book under his arm. And I really like the illustrations here too. Life for Caesar's family was difficult. All day they bent over in the hot sun picking lettuce, strawberries, and grapes. There was never enough water to drink out in the fields. From her mother, Dolores learned to think of others. When poor farm workers' families had no place to sleep, Dolores' mother would let them stay in her hotel for free. So it's kind of talking about the juxtaposition of somebody who does have these advantages and then somebody who doesn't, and then how their paths cross. Oh, another thing I think is really cool. This is social studies, but you could definitely bring in science. Well, it's reading too, because they talk about how the fields got sprayed and people would get sick. You could do a whole thing on that. So then it talks about how they come to work together and they fight to ban the poisons that they use to work with. How they had a 340-mile march. For 30 years, Dolores and Caesar worked and listened and talked and marched side by side. Dolores and Caesar worked to help families stay together. They fought to pass the Immigration Act of 1986 that helped more than 1 million immigrants become United States citizens. Dolores and Caesar had many victories because they knew that together all things were possible. Teamwork makes the dream work. In 1993, Caesar passed away and Dolores and the farm workers marched to honor him. Dolores still works and marches for justice for the poor, and she is not alone. The spirit of Cesar Chavez is with her, by her side. I believe they also worked with Martin Luther King Jr. So there's a note for parents and teachers. And then here's a picture of Dolores and Caesar. So when you read these books for students or for your grandkids or for your kids, you can think about, okay, am I just reading this book and then it's good night time? Or do I want them to do something with it? Maybe we read a few pages and delve into the spraying the fields and talking about organic. Or maybe we talk about, okay, let's think about where we get our oranges from. Let's think about where we get our grapes from. Let's think about where we get our different types of fruits and vegetables and how they go from point A to us. So that's just some ideas that you can talk about if you want to come at it from the art angle, the different ways that they're showing scenes and the different colors they use. You can talk about that. You can start, if you want them to be bilingual, you can start working on different words just to expose them to that. So just a couple of those books that I just think are fun and great, and you can take them as far as you want, as far as depth, or just, hey, we're just going to read this book. So again, my name is JoJo. I am the Thrifty Teacher, and bringing you the two things that I love: education and books and reselling. So have a good night.